Thank you again, all, for coming. We have two presentations this evening. One is by William Ferraro, who owns the what we affectionately call the Napa Building across from the depot on Wyman Street, and also Attorney Barry Crimmins, who is the attorney for the proposed Malcolm and Parsons reconstruction. So I'm going to turn it over to Bill, and this is being filmed by SMAC, and hopefully no one has any objections to that. And Bill, you can use the microphone.
Hi. So I bought the building a couple of years ago, and I've been talking with Barry off and on about my plans, what I was looking to do, and we're actually looking at opening up a full-scale haunted house. That would be during the months of September into October. So if you're not familiar with it, I mean, there's one in Abington, Barrett's. There's another one that's in Worcester. These things are they're big. I mean, they can drive lots of foot traffic into Stoughton Center. We're talking 15 to 18,000 people in several weeks. I've done a lot of research on it. It seems that when people go out to these different events, they generally spend $60 to $80 in the area that they're at, which would be great for the downtown area, all the different shops and restaurants, things like that. It can definitely during that time of year be a great financial windfall for the town. On the off season, we're going to be doing escape rooms. Now, an escape room just looks like a room like this, basically, but it's got you go in with 10 of your friends and you're locked in, and you have to look for clues and different keys and things like that, and you have 60 minutes to try and get out, or you're quote dead. So, so they're very popular. There's one in Boston right now, and there's one in Somerville, and they seem to be booked out about 2 months. And they are not just a weekend thing. That's Monday through Friday. Corporations love them because it's good for team building. Because there's a lot of different, there's a lot of different puzzles and things that you have to solve, like riddles and things, in order to find the next key to get out of the room. So we're looking to do that. And with the haunted house, I partnered with Intercom Communications, which is WAAF, EEI, and RKO, and they're very interested in this partnership and moving forward with this. I've also got some serious advertising with iHeartRadio, which is another group of radio stations. So we can. We're going to be advertising to bring people here, to Stoughton. The other thing I'm doing is with the storefront. I'm sure you guys have all seen the storefront. I'm actually going to be making space for vendor booths, so that some of the local restaurants or coffee shops or whatever, they can rent out a space and they can actually sell to people, because you have to go into the storefront to purchase the tickets, and then on the way out of the haunted house, you're going to be leaving through the storefront. So it's two different opportunities for different local vendors to to sell things, whether it's coffee, hot chocolate, pizza, whatever it ends up being. I'm including 4 vendor spaces for that, as well as the radio stations are looking to do promotions from the building. They want to do live broadcasts as well, which it can be a very good thing for the downtown. I would like to get the whole downtown involved, as far as like, maybe not this year, but hopefully in the coming years, I'd like to almost get the streets involved, and we can have actors that are dressed up as zombies or Dracula or whatever, and they can be walking down the streets and things like that, and going into the different shops that are open, and just make it a lot of fun for everybody that comes here, to the haunted house. Make it more of a destination, and make them want to stay in Stoughton Center for more than just the time that they're in the haunted house. So I think we have a zoning board meeting next month to try and get the special permit to do this, and it's going to be it'll be a busy summer over there, once we get the permits to do the full build out. So that's pretty much.
The ZBA hearing is April 7th, correct?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
If anybody feels inclined to offer any support, to the zoning board of appeals, that's always something that, can be done on an individual basis. And by all means, what are the operating hours?
So for the haunted house, generally after dark, 7 o'clock. Usually it's about 25 nights for the haunted house. So it's about 7 o'clock to 10 o'clock on like on a Tuesday or Wednesday. On weekends it would be later. They would stop selling, stop selling tickets around 10:30, and then when the last people go through, that's when it would close. During the weekends, we're also looking to do more family-oriented things during the days. So we'd have like more like a kids-friendly, like lights on type haunted house, and like try and get like local vendors to bring pumpkins and things like that. Maybe artists to do like face painting, things like that. We'd have an entire, we'd build a whole, agenda around, Saturday and Sundays for more kids and families, something for them to come down here and do as well. So.
Can we change the color of the outside?
You don't like that color?
That mustard yellow, it doesn't hit me. I don't know, maybe it hits everyone else. You had a question, Brady?
How many employees do you plan on having?
For the haunted house season, probably 20 to 25.
That's great.
Yeah. And then throughout the rest of the year, there'll probably be about 4 to 5. So, and depending on the volume of guests that we do, it can go up to 30 or 35 people throughout the
Terrific.
season.
Mainly young people, I assume.
Yes, yes, and we'll probably also look to get the police details involved as well, just to keep traffic moving and things flowing and stuff like that. So,
Excellent.
I'm pretty excited about it. So.
Any other questions out there?
So when is it up and running?
We're looking to this September, probably the second or third week in September is when we're looking to get. So, like I said, it's going to be a very busy summer for me.
Do you have a cost for that already?
Yes. So I think that my cost is going to be about $250,000 to
We can afford a little paint.
Yeah, I've got to get the entire building up to current codes. I've got to, the whole building has to be sprinkled. There has to be an addressable alarm system. Has to be ADA compliant. So there's going to be quite an investment on my end to do this, and that's why I said I'm excited to be partnering with Intercom Communications, and we've got a pretty aggressive advertising budget. So it's definitely a commitment on my end, and I'm excited and looking forward to getting it done. So.
Do you mind? Go ahead, Walter.
Yeah.
Maybe Barry can get your liquor license too.
That'd be great. That way after a long day at work, I can stand up a beer and everything.
Do you mind giving out a phone number?
What's that?
Do you mind giving out a phone number?
My phone, 617-953-5435.
5435?
5435. Sorry.
Thank you.
A little bit of a cold today, so.
Thank you very much, Bill.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good evening, folks, and thank you for the invitation from Pam to come here tonight and address the committee and give you a brief overview of the project that I'm involved with in Stoughton Center. This is the site of the project right here. It's the corner of Washington Street and Freeman Street. Tina's certainly familiar with the site because that was her former location of the Shangdu restaurant before they moved down the street. What a lot of us often refer to as the Malcolm and Parsons building. Let me just get to which you see sort of what it looks like today here, and then on this shot over here, and what we are proposing to have it look like is what you see there. We're actually very proud of the product that we have produced. The architect, we feel, has done a tremendous job in designing the site. What the site consists of, as you can see, is we'll have commercial space on the first floor, and above it, 2 floors of residential apartments. There'll be 14 apartments in total, 8 2-bedrooms and 6 1-bedrooms. Malcolm and Parsons, who recently vacated a space to move down the street a little bit, will be coming back in and will reoccupy. I'm not sure if you can see it on this small view, but we even put their sign back in there. They'll reoccupy this corner spot where they were previously. And then the other commercial space on the first floor is yet to be determined. Walter mentioned that maybe Bill might be interested in getting a liquor license for his operation, or we could have one, some kind of establishment here. As many of you know, the town meeting last year passed an article to increase the number of liquor licenses in the downtown area, and that legislation was recently passed by the legislature. So Stoughton was awarded 6 additional liquor licenses that have to be exercised in the downtown area. I believe the Board of Selectmen at their meeting, not last night, but a couple of weeks ago, awarded one of those 6 licenses to Nicole's Restaurant that's going to be going in on Wyman Street, just down past where Bill's operation is going to be. The former social club from years ago, or more recently Whiplash. But Nicole Capozzoli is going to be opening a restaurant there, and they were awarded one of those liquor licenses. But that still leaves 5 licenses available to be exercised somewhere in the town. But again, we don't know who is necessarily going to be moving into the space on the first floor. The space includes, as you can see, those trees and the other landscaping you see there are not just conceptual ideas to sort of dress up the board. That's an actual landscape plan that we put forward to the planning board, and actually the planning board is having us do very extensive landscaping on obviously what is a limited area. The only area we really have to work with is what you see there, basically the sidewalk on Freeman Street, and then the plantings that we're proposing for right there in the corner on the Washington Street side. But those plantings are intended to be multicolored when they do bloom, and we feel that's going to help dress up the area as well. This project was constructed, or will be constructed, was permitted under what is called the Stoughton Center Mixed Use Overlay District Bylaw, commonly referred to as the SHMOOD bylaw by those of us who have occasion to have to work with it on a regular basis. This is the bylaw that was adopted several years ago to permit mixed-use development in primarily, again, the center of town and the immediate surrounding areas. One of the changes that occurred at the special town meeting this past November reduced the parking requirements in the SHMOOD bylaw from 1.5 spaces for a 2-bedroom unit to 1 space for a 2-bedroom unit. That little change, or seemingly little change, is really what helped certainly this project be able to go forward, and I trust will help other mixed-use developments go forward, because that parking requirement is very difficult to meet, particularly when you're dealing with relatively small sites in the center of town. When you think about the downtown area, and this group is called the Friends of Stoughton Center, and so many of us, whether we call it Stoughton Center or Stoughton Square, and you think of sort of that immediate area, many of the lots are very small lots. This is only a 10,000 square foot lot here. Many of the lots in the town are that size, if not smaller, in the downtown area. So when you're talking about the requirement for on-site parking, it's often very difficult to meet that requirement. So with the foresight of folks like Joe Scardino, the chairman of the planning board, Noreen O'Toole, the town planner, and Mark Tisdale, the town engineer, and certainly others, they helped put forward, and Dan, as he mentioned, is on the master plan committee, as is Forrest, I believe. They were very instrumental in working with the town officials in certainly putting forth the master plan, but as part of the what I would call the first phase of implementation of the master plan were the zoning amendments that were approved at the November special town meeting. That change to the parking requirements under the Schmoo district was a very important change to help allow a project like this to go forward. So other than to tell you basically what I've already told you about the project, maybe I can just try to respond to questions. This was just approved by the planning board at its meeting last Thursday night, which was almost 2 years from when we were first before the planning board in May of 2014. Now, before Bill has a heart attack, it's not always the case that it takes 2 years to go through the permitting process on these projects. This project has some rather unique issues that we had to address, but not the least of which was the parking issue. Walter was very instrumental as well in assisting in that regard. But as I said, that change to the zoning bylaw was instrumental in helping this go forward. I truly believe that this project is really going to be the impetus for what we've all talked about and yearned for and referred to as downtown revitalization. Certainly something that this committee was all about. We've done some things in the past, roadway improvements, traffic improvements, if you can call them that. But folks like, and I should mention, it's Connolly Construction. Stephen Connolly is the developer of this site. Steve and his father also developed the apartments right across the street here, right behind the back of Leo's establishment, in the back side of the town hall. He's done other work in other areas in eastern Massachusetts, so this is not his first foray into Stoughton. But I really think this is going to help spearhead that type of development. I think when people see a building like this and see the vitality that it can bring to the square, it's only going to help things, and it becomes sort of a copycat type of situation where other people will look to do similar things. So with that, I'll be happy to respond to any questions that folks may have.
Barry?
Yeah.
Is that space going to go all the way down to where Chengdu was?
Yes,
It's hard to tell on that.
yeah, it goes right up to the building where, for instance, the Turkish restaurant. I forget the name of it there, but yeah.
So you resolved the parking? Because I know that's been a hold up
Yes.
for quite a while.
So we have, for the 14 units, we're required to have 16 parking spaces. We have 12 spaces on site, and we were able to reach an agreement with a property owner just on the other side of the center on Washington Street for the additional 4 spaces that are needed. I should also mention, and actually you can see it a little bit better on this board here. As folks who are familiar with the area know, here's what we often refer to as the Pacheco Hardware Building, but who is it, Dowd now, Walter? And your office is located there, correct? Sorry? Okay.
Moved again.
And so there's, where are we? Here we are. There's parking right here on Freeman Street. There's parking down along Freeman Street. There's parking on Washington Street. If you were to go out there today, there's plenty of parking. It's often underutilized, but so in any event, we were able to enter into an agreement, and a lot of that had to do with the reduction in the scale of this project. This was originally going to be 3 stories. It was going to be, I believe it was going to be, I think the original plan actually was even 27 units. It later was reduced to 21 units on 3 levels. And so again, the current project that you see in front of you is 14 units on 2 levels, 7 on each level.
Where is the off-site parking?
As you go out of the square, Julie, and bear right on Washington Street, it's down on the left-hand side.
Barry,
Yeah.
But actually, it's three stories because of the retail stores on the bottom?
So the entire building is 3 stories. The first floor is the commercial space,
Okay.
and then above the commercial space are the 2 floors of residential apartments. Leo?
Yeah, Barry, do you have a time frame if this is all approved?
Yeah, so hopefully, so again, the planning board just voted this last week. I was on the phone with Noreen O'Toole today. She was telling me that she hopes to have the decisions ready to be signed by the planning board at their meeting on March 24th. This is under the same procedure as other types of zoning cases where there's then a 20-day appeal period after the decision gets filed with the town clerk's office. So March 24th decision, that kicks us into probably the end of April. And I think my client's hope is by the summertime to start construction.
That's great. And, I just want to say, thanks to the Conleys, because this is just what we need for downtown. I mean, it's not only bringing the commercial space we need with these residences, with the train station, bringing in hopefully younger families that, they might not even be families, they'd be couples, coming into the downtown, taking the train into Boston to go to work. They come back. I mean, I don't see parking being an issue with these types of rental units in our downtown. I think it's huge.
Thank you.
I just, one other comment, that there was some really good cooperation on the widening of the sidewalk on Freeman Street. It was suggested to the planning board that that was all striped as a fire lane. It really had no value. So the Barry and the building applicant went to the Board of Selectmen in their capacity as the street commissioners, and they accepted the proposal to double the width of the sidewalk on the Freeman Street side, and that's accommodated the landscaping, but with the hope that it would also accommodate some benches and some gathering space as well. So there was a lot of cooperation all the way around between Barry, Connolly Construction, and the Board of Selectmen on that.
Anyone else? Okay, great. Thank you very much. Thank you.